when does standing up for yourself remain right if it means losing loved ones?
I'm not quite sure. Okay, so you mean if somebody's doing drugs and they're living in your home and you don't think they ought to be there, and you've got to tell them that either they quit the drugs or they get out. That's a tough scenario. There have been times when I've said, if you're going to smoke, do it outside, and it was against all my principles. So I think you have to, in your thought, continue to hold the standard, but work with people where they are. And if it's kind of like, what was that? If it's in your face and it keeps you from doing the work you have to do, you're going to have to say, I can't have that in my space. There are times where I compromise and times where I don't. But if I don't know, then I go back to my metaphysics and reestablish my thought. So without being, that's as specific as I can get without knowing the situation. Again, you may ask a person you're working with here or elsewhere to help you with that.
Why does healing take so long?
Because we have a lot of things that we think are true that aren't. And we have a lot of suggestions coming to us that they are true, that we don't know what to do with or haven't done anything with. And even if it seems like things take a long time, don't despair, because we're in a journey that really is at the very substance of our journey. There's a fact that God got there first. So even if we have to dig and work and our fingers get a little bloody and we get a little sunburn looking for the jewels in the sand, we know that the jewels are here. We have a promise through Jesus, through the works, and through maybe having seen a healing, or you wouldn't be coming here, or even having hope. So don't give up. The healings that I've worked the hardest for have taught me deep, wonderful lessons about love, and I'm grateful for them. Sometimes, it would be easier if they came quickly, but I've had some quick ones too. So I think God knows what things we have need of. And if you need a quick healing, you'll have one, you'll see one. Maybe a message. Listen to God like a child. He talks to you. He gives you what you need.
This person wants to know, is the singer your daughter?
Is the sinner my daughter?
Is the singer your
daughter?
daughter?
Oh, no. I was going to say the sinner was my daughter. No, we just met. I didn't know her, but she happened to be someone who sang at a dear friend's wedding. But no, she's not my daughter, but I wish she were. I've got 6 kids and 16 grandkids, and I think now 4 or 5 great-grandkids. It depends on who we count. And most of them are close, so we got lots of kids. So you're welcome if you want to join the family if you're still here. She's beautiful.
How do we heal grief?
Well, I think a little bit, I've handled that quite a bit. Grief usually is our perspective, unable to see beyond the mortal sense of things. And as I've shared, you remember the story of the kiters. There's a reality in that moment that we don't have to be afraid. We can know that God got here first. Be humble enough to hear, the good. Be humble enough to know that God is good and you're his child. It takes more humility to do that than to think you're bad. It's not easy to think you're good.
Were you specifically praying for your dad, your birth dad, when you were thinking about fatherhood?
No, I never prayed for him at all. In fact, that was what amazed me, as I prayed in my own thought about father qualities. And it was like my world, somebody turned on a light and there was my dad. And I got a new dad. I just prayed in my own thought. And I know Mary Bakeretti and Jesus both had experiences where they just thought about people and they had healings. So that's a legitimate way of thinking, is just to know the truth about those who are in your thought. If you were praying for somebody, you'd be thinking they can't be made to believe they're sick, or they haven't had a problem. You'd be arranging their thoughts with their permission. But I was just rearranging my own concept concepts of Father. Are we almost done? Okay. Are you guys getting tired of this? No. Well, you can leave if you do, I guess.
What kind of thing, what is your approach in dealing with people close to you that question or doubt your belief in healing this way?
Well, Grandma, when she first heard that I was a Christian Scientist, she was this wonderful Baptist lady. She said, I would much rather you were a Catholic than a Christian Scientist, which was like the worst thing in the world to Grandma, to be a Catholic as a Baptist. And I just loved her, and Grandpa passed on, and I loved her, and I thought, okay, God, how can I love Grandma? She was in another state, and for 13 years, every Monday or Tuesday, I wrote her a letter, two-sided, and I put perfume on it. I'd write her all the good things that I could think of to share, and all my gratitude for the years when she made me a dress out of curtains, and she was an industrious, wonderful woman. And at the end of that 13 years, when she was on an age, I went to visit her, and she grabbed one of her friends and said, come over here, you've got to meet my daughter. This is Ginny, and she's a Christian Science practitioner. And she was so delighted with whatever that Christian Science was, because it were letters, So I think love, in whatever way people need to feel it. If it's somebody on the street, maybe a food bar wrapped in an article. If it's a child who's cutting herself, maybe a hug and a meal. Maybe lots more love would speak louder than anything else.
I'm a committed Christian Scientist and was married to a committed Christian Scientist.
That makes it sound like you were both in prison. In my world. So I'm a committed, okay.
He was really a gay man who deeply didn't want to be one.
He was a what?
A gay man.
Oh, you're not in happy. Oh, okay, so he was a gay. Okay, thank you.
The relationship often suffered from hatred for women and also physical abuse. How can I be sure I've really forgiven him? I think I have close feeling of once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah. I don't identify people by their sexuality, and I know that it's because some of the people I know who are homosexual are, real macho and outgoing, and some are more feminine, and some of the heterosexuals I know are really strong and masculine women, and some of my men friends who are heterosexual are hairdressers with wonderful feminine qualities. So I think probably your best bet is to find your own sense of completeness and to forgive, because I've had a number of cases of people who've called for Christian Science treatment who were struggling with sexual issues that, feelings they didn't know what to do with, and have had wonderful, wonderful healing experiences. And so I just find, don't stop. Don't stop looking for this sense of completeness within yourself. And God will then guide you to a loving relationship. And maybe you did a lot more in your relationship with your husband than you realize. Maybe there was great progress. I don't know, without talking to you. This is so